Now, if you own a car and you wash your own car, you're going to like this video. Hello there, welcome to another video from Max Revs. I'm here at Porsche Auto Farm to collect my GT4. It's been here for the winter protection package. This is part 2 of this video, so if you haven't seen part 1, please refer to that in the link below. It'll make a lot more sense when you see the content of this video. In part 1, they basically prepped the car for a deep clean. Basically, since I left the car, they have washed it, steam cleaned the underside, and they've protected it. So the car, I'm looking at the car now, it looks absolutely mint. Makes me feel really happy, seeing as the fact that I couldn't buy a new car. But as far as I'm concerned, this is brand new. All I've got to do is like wash it on the outside, give it a good detail over the weekend, and then I'm going to be over the moon. Yes, that is a 718 GT4 Club Sport Cup car, but we're not talking about that car right now. We're here to talk about this car. So I'll show you the before and after shots. They kind of were kind enough to do some footage. I left them a camera here. So enjoying life and cars to the max, and I hope you enjoy this video. So let's start with a real quick before and after comparison on the underside of my car. Here you can see the before, it's prior to any of the cleaning process, and you can clearly see the muck that is on the car. I've stopped it here because I'm sure one of you is going to ask a question. If you look at that rear kind of support which is behind the engine, you can basically see like a cleaned up section there. So that piece of metal must have been protected prior to the purchase of my vehicle. I had the transmission oil changed. I know you don't do it until every 12 years. I had it done at 6 years, and I think basically I was told that when you change the transmission oil, it kind of spills over. So they've obviously used some kind of product to clear up the transmission oil that would have spilled over onto that piece of metal, which is why you can basically see that cleaned up area over there. If we now move on to the after, you can basically see this is it. It's been cleaned, it's been protected. You can see it's sort of taken on a goldish tinge. That's basically the product at work. So the first step in the cleaning process is to get my car outside. It's quite a mucky process, so this is basically done outdoors. You can see the car being driven without the rear bumper. Looks pretty futuristic, like some of those cars that have like huge turbos and kind of exhausts put on the rear of the car. So here you can basically see they've jacked up the car and they've put it onto 4 axle stands that were put into the correct locations. I was basically told when you use axle stands, never have metal and metal contact. So I believe they had like wooden blocks between the axle stands and the underbody just to make sure that no metal's crushed.
This is where all the dirt and muck is collected up under the under trays. So I'm going to just start on this side, and I'll give you a little tour of going around where we're up to at the moment. So again, this is the driver's side rear, and you can see there the difference where all the dirt and muck is that we're going to be cleaning off.
So stage 1 in the cleaning process is to hit that dirt with some degreaser. This is going to be a lot more effective than just tackling that with a pressure washer at the start. So degreaser is sprayed into the wheel arches, as you can see Travis doing here, and that's let to sit for a while and to work its magic and soak away at that dirt. There you go there, you can just sort of see it all dripping away. And once that degreaser's had a chance to soak away at that dirt, it's then followed up with some agitation to get all that muck out of the arches. That is then followed up with a pressure washer.
This is all the dirt and debris that's collected up around the rear tail light there. And then as we come across to the passenger side, you can see where I've started going around and cleaning. A bit wet still at the moment, but quite a big difference there now that all that dirt's gone. And this is the side that I've got most of the cleaning now done on. So That's the under seal, which has got a slightly lighter or whiter effect to it, and a little bit of the blue overspray compared to before, where you could see on the other side the two different sections. It is starting to come up quite nicely. I'll probably go over it once more and just see if I can get a little bit more of it out.
So as you can see in this kind of footage here, the areas of metal that were protected by the arch liner, they've come up pretty clean just with a single pass of degreaser and the jet wash. Whereas there are other sections that are not protected by the arch liner, which still are a bit mucky. And you can see over here, it's generally like tar spots and other bits of road grime. If you agitate that with your finger, you can see it kind of comes off. So they hit this with a second pass of tar remover and maybe a stronger degreaser just to finally get that muck out. You'll see in some footage later on how clean the passenger front arch comes out. I think while they were here, they also tackled my brake calipers as well. They probably weren't that dirty because I gave it a clean a couple of months back, but anyway, good shout out to them for giving that a go as well. Now they're going to work on the other side of the car. So they're removing the rear wheel, and you can basically see the condition of the wheel arch prior to any cleaning whatsoever. So here you can basically see, look at all that muck, the liners come off. This side of the car has not had any cleaning done on it yet. And if we compare that to the other side on the rear, which has been worked on, you'll basically see the difference. Look at that. That is quite a before and after transformation on the rear arches comparing the passenger side to the driver's side. Now when we look at this front passenger side wheel arch, it's had the second application of degreaser, and as you can see, all the tar spots have come out this time around. So that's basically the arches, the wheel arches done. Now don't forget, this package includes the underbody, and that's kind of quite important here. As you can see, it gets the same treatment. It gets degreaser applied, that is brushed in, and then it is pressure washed off with warm or hot water. So once again, I don't have the equipment to do this at home, and to be honest, getting the car up on 4-axle stands is kind of probably beyond what I would attempt at home. I don't even have a level driveway. So big shout out to the guys at Auto Farm for helping me make this video. I wasn't there while the cleaning process was going on, but by capturing this footage on my GoPro, you've made me feel that I was there for the whole journey, and I really feel this captures all the different steps you did in cleaning and protecting my car. So at the end of the cleaning process, the car is driven back into the workshop. It's left to dry overnight with the heating on, and then the following day they start looking at all the other remedial steps they can take.
At the moment, I'm currently going around just cleaning any little spots I've missed, but also any little areas where there's rust, even just surface rust. We tend to put a rust killer on just to try and remove that before we start the wax seal process. So I just wanted to give you a quick walk around before I continue, just so you can sort of see where we're up to. I've started to take back the edge of the seal along there just to get a little bit more of the bare metal showing, just to give a bit more surface area to adhere to with the new underseal. Again, that's just the rust killer on there, just worked its way into that rust.
Now, as you just saw in that previous footage, you can see that Travis has basically taken my seam back to metal, and in this video here, that white stuff you can see, that is primer that he's put on to the metal prior to applying the seam sealer.
Yeah, just to show you, just to make sure you're happy with that there. So, all the way along, and then a couple of little patches on the other side there.
So the car's been cleaned, the rust has been attended to, the seams were primed, they were then sealed with a proper seam sealer, and now we can move on to the protection process. What you can see Travis doing here is taping up my car to ensure that the protectant they're going to apply on the underside of my car stays there, stays in the wheel arches, and doesn't go onto my bodywork. Because it's an aerosol based product, it can actually disperse and get into the air. So here you basically see them doing a thorough job to ensure that that product goes where it should do and shouldn't go where it shouldn't go.
So we're now ready to start the waxing process. Just wanted to show you sort of some of the points involved. Basically, we've wrapped the underside to seal it from the outside, so none of the fumes can escape from the waxing process. but then also we've covered the top of the car just so that anything that may get out, if it's not airtight, pretty much stays off of your paintwork and your PPF, which is the main point of that there. So it's a little bit of a process, but the idea is to offer the most protection we can in doing the waxing process. It's just going to give you a little view inside. So as you can see, it's almost like a bit of a tent in here, just to contain all the fumes, and we'll get a nice coating of wax on here for you.
In this footage over here, you can see a 50-50 shot where you can see the bronze colour where the coating has been applied, and then on the other side, you can basically see where it has not been applied. It's fantastic. For people that can't buy a brand new car, this car was used, it's thoroughly transformed. And one thing that I quite like, it's not just clean, it's protected. And that's the kind of thing that I like. I also asked them to look at my seams. So I think the way these guys work is I was getting a video every day, actually multiple videos per day, and they'll go, we've seen this, we're going to go ahead and do this, do you want to go ahead and do it? And I thought that was quite a nice way to work. So I haven't actually just done the underbody package. There's a few extra bits that I've had to done where they've attended to, like the seams on both sides actually. I'm over the moon with the work you've done on this car. There was rust on the car, probably more than I thought, but you know what? Look underneath your car and tell me how much rust you've got, because I'm pretty sure any car in the UK that's 6 years old is going to have rust. But I think you sent me this video where I think you'd apply the rust, it's something to eat away at the rust or something.
Yeah, it eats away at the rust. It's a rust converter. It's just to try and stop it coming back. There's no point leaving rust there and putting a bit of wax over it, because the rust is in there. So it just sort of kills off the rust, and then we get the wax over it to protect it.
I have to admit, so that I didn't realise that's part of the package, but that's a great offering.
Yeah, any rust we come across, we'll inform you of and try and attend to it then before we wax it.
Fantastic. Really over the moon with this. Enjoying life and cars to the max. And yeah, maybe next time you're washing your car, look underneath it and see how dirty that is. And if you want to give it a go, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not affiliated with these guys. I'm a regular paying customer, just to be clear there. But, you know, I think they've done a phenomenal job on my car. And yeah, enjoying life and cars to the max. And thanks, Travis, for all the work you've done on my car.
You're welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure to work on.
Cheers. Now, you may have heard of that classic James Bond film, The Man with a Golden Gun. Well, this is Man with a Golden Cayman. I mean, look at these arches, look at how clean, they've got everything. I asked them to leave one wheel liner off so I could basically make this video when I collected the car, and you can just see, look at that, the protectant's gone inside, the dirt's been removed, all around that top mount area. I mean, this is as brand new as it can get. They put the wheel liner back on here. I mean, this plastic has never looked this good. I'm sure it's going to get dirty again, but what really makes me kind of happy about my car is it's all protected, all around the areas that really count. So even if it's going to get covered in dirt and grime going forwards, I know that all that metal has been protected and it's covered in the best stuff possible. It's just walking through from the front to the back of the car. They've pretty much covered all the metallic items on the car, apart from the oil sumps at the bottom of the engine, because obviously it gets really hot, but otherwise everything else has been attended to. And this is something that was really sort of bothering me. When I had my service done at Porsche Brooklands, they did note the seam needed attention. It was not something they could rectify at their dealership, and they recommended I approach a body shop, but thankfully Auto Farm could deal with this work and actually do the whole cleaning process and the protection. So what a one-stop shop. Enjoying life and cars to the max. See ya.